I got to bring up that huge 3 in the finals against the Spurs. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I think, hold on. I think you threw it.
Oh, look at this, Jackie. We got props.
I think you threw your shoe to me when you lost your shoe.
That looked like
when you lost.
That looked like
Yeah. This is the shoe you had on when you shot that 3 at the buzzer with that one shoe on.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I need to know.
Yeah.
With all that said, man, it was a wonderful, beautiful shot. Obviously, you looked at the back rim.
That's right.
Man, tell me what was going through your mind, man, and when you was letting it fly with that one sock on in that shoe. Talk to me.
Literally nothing was going. Like, I'll be honest, everyone asked me the same question. Like, there's I could do. Like,
yeah, no time to put that shoe on up.
No shoe, no time to put it. And then you're sliding around like. And Bron tells me every time, if I pass to you, kill or shoot it. I'm like, shit, that's what I do. So, you know what I mean? It didn't matter what I had, shoes or no shoes. It was just like the only option I had was to shoot it. Because he cussed me out every time I didn't shoot it. I got you, bro. I'm glad you caught that.
You talked about Bron. Because I know a lot of guys, a lot of the point guards, right? The assist high guys, the assist heavy guys, and they know who their shooters are, right? Talk to us about the confidence that you get from a player that tells you when you get the ball, shoot it. Like, how good does that feel as a shooter?
No, I mean, it's really everything, right? Like, and the reality is Bron, shooters can make on Bron's team can make impacts on the game without even shooting a basketball, right? All he needs is an extra 1.5 feet, maybe a foot. And the perception of shooting is what he really wants. That's why every time he built a team, it had a bunch of me's on it, right? It's just it's the perception of shooting. It's the space, and especially with that team, it was that. And I'll give you a funny story, man. And I've said it on my podcast multiple times. Like, I got there, and I was more of a like ball in the hand kind of player, like point guard, like not point guard, but I'll pick and roll and decision maker and stuff like that. Like when I came in the league, I was kind of like the jack of all trades kind of dude. And I turned myself into a shooter because I had to. I looked around. I came in with T-Mac and Grant Hill. I was like, shit, you know what? The stuff I do, they do way better than me, right? So I had to have self-awareness. So, but anyways, I get there, and I basically run corner to corner, and Bron would throw them bullets at me and hit my pant, and the whole crowd be like, oh. And so you like 4 or 5 of them. I'm like, man, fuck that. Like, so I started doing a little drill where I go run on the treadmill for 5 minutes, jump off, make 1 3, come back, jump on the treadmill for 5 minutes, how to make 5 in a row. And I trained myself basically in those moments. It's like, listen, I'm going to be that dude on this team because D-Wade, Bron, and CB need space. When they throw the ball to me, I got to deliver. And so I just got sick of the crowd like, yo, we hired you to shoot, bro. You know what I mean? But it was different because you have no feel for the game.
Right there.
Yeah, you have no feel.
Real.
You have no feel for the game, though. You know what I mean? Like when you're in the game and you got rhythms going, you're good. But when you're just run up and down and then they throw you and you got 23 feet, you got a cash. Like you gotta be a motherfucker mentally. I'll be honest.
Yeah. I know being in Miami, right? We hear about the Heat culture all the time and what happened with Jimmy. Obviously, there were stories that came out around y'all time with Pat Riley, Bron, and these cookies, right? I know there's a
D-Wade him with the cookies.
Yeah. I know there's a Heat culture that we've all heard about, though. And again, Pat Riley has taken a lot of criticism over this with how he's ran the Heat the past couple of years. From your perspective and your time there, kind of talk us through how and what was it like playing for the Heat culture and what was the Heat culture exactly?
I think one, I learned more in my 3 years in Miami than I pretty much did anywhere else because of that, where you take it not only in basketball but in life, because it's basically sacrifice, commitment, discipline, expectation, right? Like all the things you want. Like you want the expectations, you want that. Like when Bron and those guys got on stage, say we're going to win 8, right? Like those expectations are there, but then now you got to go out there and sacrifice and do it. Like people understand, man. Like everybody on that team sacrificed something. And sacrifice we talk about all the time. Like sacrifice is shit. That's easy to say, right? If you knew what the outcome was going to be, everyone would sacrifice. If they told you right now, man, hey, you got to take $5 million less, but you can go win a chip next year. Cool. But if you take $5 million less, your shots go down, and you don't win a championship, you're like, damn, fuck that. Right. So like sacrifice is easy if you know the outcome, but you don't know the outcome. So they get you with the discipline and the understanding and the commitment and the buy-in, right? And I don't think anyone does it better than they do. And it does help that it's hard for me to completely tell, because that unit, that group that I was with in Miami was almost self-policed, right? Spo was unbelievable. But when your best players, bro, are the ones that grind out every day in practice, and it's like, okay, now if you're one of those dudes like me or Shane or like, what are we, UD, what are we going to say? No, I ain't practicing today? No, you can go out there, knee pads up, mouthpiece in, we're going to thug it out. So it's like that's what I think. So for me, the Heat culture was unbelievable, but it's in the NBA, and you know this, man. Like, your culture can be whatever it is. If your leadership or your top players aren't in it, it don't matter what your culture is.
That's one of the things I think because that comes down to an organizational thing, right? I think one of the things that kind of set Indiana apart from other places that I've been to was obviously Pat Riley, who's been around the game for years. He's from that old school era. We had Larry Bird at the helm.
Best, brother. Larry Bird was my favorite player of all time.
He was, but with that, it was a standard that it was a Pacers way. You guys had a Heat culture. We kind of had a Pacers way.
Yeah.
With that, though, like, everybody fell in line. There was an order. There was a checks and balance. There was a professionalism. Like, you did shit the right way. For you, though, any stories? Because I've heard of, like, guys saying there's, they had a weigh-in that they always had to make weight.
Oh yeah.
Or what? Any examples of what that Heat culture was? That's just like, all right, this is what we had to do.
I think it was set real early. I think when I went down there, I don't know if I'm completely accurate, but I think I was on year 10 or 11 at the time. So you've seen a lot, right? And but our first camp was at a Army base, and right then when he had those guys coming there, I was like, okay, this shit's gonna be hitting a little different, right? Because he had the people come in and talk to us, and we went through it. And I showed up on a bus. I'll never forget. I showed up on a bus with, just a normal Nike T-shirt on or whatever it was, and they're like, "Nah, get out. That's a Heat T-shirt." And I'm thinking to myself, well, that's some bullshit. Like, this is easy. That's simple. It's just T-shirt. But it's the small things that ultimately, like we talked about it as a 4-minute game, right? 4-minute games, like, it's not about a T-shirt, bro. It's about listening and being accountable and doing what you need to do. And so you start learning, like, the small things become the big things down there. And when you can get guys like LeBron James and those dudes at those levels to buy into that, like I said, the trickle down is amazing, man. But the weight body fat was crazy.
Yeah.
I told you I like beer, so it was tough on me.
How you pass that up in South Beach? You know what I mean?
No doubt. No doubt.